Okay, so just to recap, I feel like remote viewing is somehow hitting success with upticks, but they're unable to like hit big crashes and stuff like that. But however, I feel like entities, right, in spirit, seemingly, who knows where they are, they seem to have some insight to it. So I wanted to try channeling an entity and asking it about cryptocurrencies, and we'll do Shiba Inu because it's what we seem to be focused on. So you want to try how?
Yeah.
One of your guides?
Yeah, absolutely. What would you like for me to ask? I do feel like there's a crash coming.
Yeah, that was actually the question I was about to ask you. Is
You
there
just
is there
told
a
me the answer.
cryptocurrency crash, from now until December 15th?
Cryptocurrency crash from now till December 13th.
15th.
Yeah. I'm sorry, December 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to go like a strong dip down. Yeah.
And what's the
Was that?
lowest
Mm-hmm.
what's the lowest price that we what's the lowest price on an exchange for Shiba Inu during that crash?
On an exchange for Shiba Inu, will it go to 2? I feel like 2.8 or 2.9.
So 40s 2829,
Mm-hmm.
not 40s 2.
Will it go below 2.8? It's like a wave. It's going to go down and then up and then down. So I feel like, and then it finally bottoms out. Yeah, I mean, not bottoms out, but it finally stops, like, so what is being presented is like this massive dip down. And then it's almost like, now we're back up again. Now it's going down. And then the gaps in between up and down sort of get smaller and smaller. And then it just flattens. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, it gets flat, but does it incrementally go up for the rest of the month from there, or is this a buying opportunity for the month? Like, do you have to set limit orders right now to catch the low, or is it just going to be a flat downward trend that you can just buy throughout the month?
It's going to be a flat trend that you can just buy throughout the month. I feel like there'll be a few opportunities to buy throughout the month where it dips. Yes.
Is there going to be an uptick at the end of the month for Shiba Inu? Asking how?
Is there going to be an uptick at the end of December for Shiba Inu? I feel like right at the tail end.
Like December 30th, 31st, like that, New Year's?
Yeah.
Why? Why did the volume increase?
Why did the volume increase? More confidence that it's going to increase in value. So there's more buying. There's more people buying at that point. Has there been an announcement? Several announcements. Okay. Was there an announcement to do with Shiba Inu? Yes. I think they figured out a way to burn more supply.
So they're going to reduce supply?
Are they going to reduce supply at the end of the month? That's when they announce it.
So what is the lowest price of Bitcoin this month? Asking how.
What is the lowest price of Bitcoin this month? So Bitcoin drops down as well. So I feel like on that little crash or that dip, everything's going to go down, including Bitcoin. I'm not getting any definitive price figures, but there will be a dip down. And
Is
you
it
can't miss it.
if you're trying to capture the lowest
Mhm.
price, is it better to set a limit order on the dip, or is there just going to be an opportunity? It's going to be like a flat line that you can just get in for 3 days or whatever.
Will it be a flat line? No, it's not going to be a flat line. It's going to be dip, then up, then down, then up. Again, it seems to be following this pattern of like a massive dip and then it rises.
Like
and
shark
then,
teeth, like shark teeth.
Yeah, yeah.
That
You've
was
been
Dad
surfing
Smith's
again.
prediction.
You've been
No, that was
surfing.
that.
Is
That
that
was
what you saw gnawing on your surfboard?
No, I had dreams about China, and I had dreams about something else, an elevator. But I was asking questions about China. So is the reason for the dip the Evergrande stuff?
Is the reason for the dip because of Evergrande? I don't think so.
What's the reason for the dip?
What's the reason for the dip? Is there an inflation announcement coming out?
The only thing I can think of is this bill, the Build Back Better thing is just insane spending and inflation. We're already facing inflation. So I don't really follow the progress on it to the point where I can tell you that would be an announcement. But didn't we say around December 15th that there's going to be some discussion with the Fed? Yeah, December 15th, there's going to be a Fed announcement.
An announcement that made everything drop. Yeah, I feel like it's some sort of announcement.
And it has nothing to do with Evergrande?
Does it have anything to do with Evergrande? Have anything to do with China? No.
Yeah. So will Bitcoin go into the 30s?
Will Bitcoin go into the 30s?
This month.
This month, December 30 through to December 31st, 2021. Will Bitcoin go in the 30s? It's possible. 39 is a strong possibility. Will it go to 39? Hopefully not.
Okay.
But it's always possible. But I do see a big dip.
What would be the best day to short Bitcoin
What would
to
be
maximize your position size?
the best day to short Bitcoin? On the 15th? The 13th? 14th? 14th? 15th? I feel like right around 14 going into 15.
Not from the 12th going into the 13th?
What about the 12th going into the 13th? No.
Interesting.
Now, you have to understand, because you want me to channel this different way, that what I'm channeling does not have any concept of space and time.
Okay.
Because this isn't really well, is it remote viewing? A little tiny fraction of it is, but it's not surefire method like remote viewing. This is
What about
why other
when
people
you
that use
go
this
ahead?
method can never pin down dates and times.
So, okay, that makes sense actually, because sometimes you'll get a prediction that doesn't happen for 3 weeks. So we can work with that.
Mm-hmm.
We can work with that. Like if you were to set a short order and hopefully there's just, not too much volatility, you get it on the tippy top. If it keeps on going, a couple $1,000, it's not that bad. All right. Another element of success was when you were to get someone's higher self. And I think we discussed when you're going to do these financial forecasts for individuals, which I really recommend. I don't know if we didn't implement this yet, did we?
So this is the problem. We did for like a day, and I got orders through. It's like a paper reading. But the development team, unfortunately, there was too many glitches. They had to take it down. They were going to fix it Monday, but the whole team has COVID, the whole office. So now, and they're in the UK. So now they're out for a good 2 weeks or more, which is fine.
Well, if you include, I hope that you remember this, to include channeling each individual's higher self and asking specific questions. I think those are always on point. Always on point. I've never heard of a miss with that, and it may not be like, oh, hey, what's the highest, the lowest price? But, sometimes you'll know something's coming and you don't capitalize on it. And it's because, let's just say, your higher self won't allow it. So it would be more accurate to say, hey, higher self, why aren't I making, this dough on this prediction? You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
just a reminder to include that in the financial forecast.
You may have the information, but if the higher self doesn't allow you to make a lot of money off of that information, you're toast. You can't override that.
So can you ask my higher self, if you were to channel my higher self, is it remote viewing or is it channeling?
Channeling.
And if you channel my higher self, is there time movements or they're out of space and time?
Can I do a time movement with, because I've never done a time movement with a higher self. I've done a time movement with the conscious mind, but I've never done a time movement with the higher self. Can I do a time movement with the higher self? I don't think it's possible.
So another question would be if we could take the higher selves of like the collective of everyone on Patreon, mine or yours, would that be an entity that we could create?
Yeah, I've got it here. It's a big group.
You've done it?
I've
Which
got it
one?
right now.
Mine, yours, or both combined?
Combined.
You've combined our Patreons and you made a group with all the higher selves?
Yeah.
Why are we not able to see the dips of Bitcoin as accurately as we can see the upticks?
Why are we not allowed to see the dips as accurately as we can see the upticks? Because you're not allowed to avoid them.
Okay, so what can we do to make financial forecast super accurate for everyone in the group?
To make financial forecasts super accurate for everyone in the group. See, okay, this is what they're saying. When they're giving me up information, right? That's fine, because when things are going up, there's not, everybody's happy. People are, they're mentally spending their funds and their profits, and I'm going to move here and I'm going to do this and I'm going to buy a Lamborghini and blah, blah, blah. There's not a lot of life lessons in that, right? There in happiness and joy. The only thing that you should have at that moment as a life lesson is gratitude. But on the downslide, right? It's emotional turmoil, and they're not supposed to avoid it.
So what can we do to increase everyone's financial portfolio on the Patreons for all the individuals on the Patreons? What would be the best
What's the
way
best
forward?
way forward? Keep doing what we're doing. Okay. But what is the best way forward? Would that be to bring in a TA and an astrologer? That would certainly help. Okay. So, but see, what they're saying to me is that it's ultimately their responsibility, and we shouldn't take their responsibility away from them. Do you know what I
Well, we
mean?
could teach, yeah, but we could teach them the tools to to move forward. Like, it sounds silly, but there's certain meditations that I've done, I felt like that were successful, but I don't have, it's anecdotal, and I'm thinking that the reality with TA is that it's just another instrument, it's just another tool. It's like every TA will tell you the same thing. It can go up, it can go down. Here's the support, here's the resistance level, and there's volume, and it's like, but they're all going to say that they predicted this movement, and they don't. What's more accurate are a lot of these predictions, and I just use it with the technical analysis, because sometimes technical analysis is very clear what's gonna happen, and if it aligns with the predictions, I bet. But the TAs are not. I wouldn't put a lot of money on it unless I was a hedge fund and you had more instruments. Why would all these guys have YouTube channels? If that technical analysis works all the time, they don't. The ones that work, they don't bother with YouTube. It's like they work in financial sectors. Some of them are millionaires and they do it kind of like me, where we kind of do it for fun, but not too many of them. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in the TAs, honestly. I think it's a good instrument, a tool, a measurement, a barometer, but I don't believe that there's any kind of financial forecast that we can offer that has any significant value more than what we're doing here.
What I mean, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's the full moon, it's the new moon. The problem is with that, it's like, well, it's 5 days before or 5 days after a certain type of moon. Those two types of moons in the month. So if you say the new moon and the full moon, that's 20 days, right? That's 5 days before the new moon, 5 days after the new moon, 5 days before the full moon, and 5 days after the full moon. And at some point, there's either going to be a strong, uptick, or there's going to be a flash crash. But okay, of course there is. If you look over a 20-day period, you know what I mean? Like, it's too vague. It's too vague. And I do agree that the moon, as we uncovered before when we did that, channeling the moon, is very influential. But is it going to give us, precise information? No, it's not precise. Which leads me to another point. I'm wondering if we should channel the moon and ask the moon, because I'm saying, can you give us, let me channel the moon. Can you give us financial forecasting? Yes. Okay. If I was to move you into remote viewing, date, time, space, would you be able to answer my questions? Yes.
Related to cryptocurrency?
No, it would be the overall financial markets.
What date? Okay, can you move them into the end of December and ask at what date was the lowest price of Bitcoin?
Okay, so if the moon just suddenly disappears out of the sky from here until the end of December, please don't blame Liz. I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about doing that. Wow, I've never done that before. It makes me nervous. Like, I feel like red flag on that.
A time movement on the moon, or asking what the price of Bitcoin would be the lowest? What do you mean? What would be the nervous part?
The time movement on the moon. Like, you don't want to get the moon out of whack, right? Because you felt me doing a time movement before, and it does kind of unsettle you a little bit. if you're sensitive to those things. The last thing I want to do is screw the moon up.
Well, at the time I had opened up my chakras. I don't know. It's all anecdotal. I don't know what's true or what's not true. But I think when you were doing something, it was like new energy, new awareness on my end. But I had since closed it, so I think I would be okay. Just thinking about that. But for the moon, you're viewing the moon. You're not moving the moon. You're moving your perception of it into the future, assumingly.
Okay, but
So
when you're moving people or things into the future, you do move. There's something going on there. Because remember, when I was doing like all those sports predictions, and I'm moving people into the future to find out which team won, and I was extremely successful with this. But I got dropped by 2 bookies. The first one was dealing with the mob out of Vegas and said, your hit rate is far too high, and they dropped us. And then the second one, Johnny No Thumbs, I'm serious, people think I'm making this up. Johnny No Thumbs was also like, you're getting me in trouble with the big people. So we got dropped. And I say we because I was working for a couple of people that would task me, and we got dropped, but what I found was, and my joke on the Patreon was, well, thank God, Johnny No Thumbs didn't know who I was, because they were trying to figure out who I was. And I thought, because I'm going to become Lizzie No Knees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they don't like it.
Yeah.
They don't want you to win. My kid asked me that question. He was like, Mom, how come casinos really don't want you to win? I was like, because they don't make any money, But what I was doing is, when the sports team, so you think in terms of baseball, they play a lot of games against the same teams, right? So you could have 2 baseball teams that have 7 games against one another in a season, or even sometimes within a week or 2-week period. So I was probing the same people over and over. And I mean, they got to a point where they were like, no, you're not, you're not going to probe me. And, you're not, kind of like a Lynn Buchanan method, you're not coming in here and you're not going to probe me. You're going to have to go to somebody else. So that says to me, if too much of it could make you a little unsettled, especially if you're an athlete and you need to, if you're an athlete and you need to play a game that day. So I had to learn to probe like fans and things like that. It was a learning curve.
There's no way of discussing this without it getting philosophical, because it's all theory. Like, I mean, if you were to do a time movement in the future, who's to say that we're not connecting to different futures and we're going on different paths? Life is like a mirror. It reflects back at you what you're experiencing. So if you've changed yourself, maybe you're going to experience a different future, and we just experience it linearly. Or maybe it doesn't work like that. Maybe if you, when you remote view someone in the present, I know that Lynn Buchanan, has an effect on people, and he can, negatively affect them and stuff like that. But who's to say if you were to do the same thing to time movement in the future, and you negatively affect them in the future, what timeline is that? Or maybe that's happening in the present. Or how does that correlate to, let's just say, astral projection, where they're calling it bilateral, bilocation, something. It's like, this is all theory, and we're never going to get a straight answer.
No.
I feel like if we're getting, what if we're remote viewing prices of Bitcoin in a different reality? It's like, how do we best move? We should probably ask this to our collective higher selves. How do we best move ourselves to a reality where we're all rich and famous for the $1 subscription and Patreon? This is why I I don't charge any money because all of this is trial and error. This is why I don't put $20, $30 a month, because that's what it would be worth if it would, have a higher rate of success.
Yeah, I
Sure
mean,
thing.
but also you want to make it affordable for people, because people need spiritual enlightenment, but they may not have a lot of money. Listen, I mean, the only reason you charge $1, back in the day, Patreon used to let you have a platform for free. I guess they stopped that. And for me, I charge like, what is it, £4, okay, give or take the exchange rate on the day, 4 Great British pounds, which is roughly like five, maybe 5.50. But Patreon takes most of that, as you know. But I needed them to provide an easy platform for me to work on, because I don't have time to function with my own websites and all that. I'm just not, I don't have that time, not with doing the readings and all of that. But that's an interesting point that you bring up, because I'm doing these future time movements, or these future self readings, and I'm talking to the future self and asking whether their crypto, certain crypto investments were profitable for them. And I'm saying to their future self, okay, knowing that information, did you make changes in the past? And sometimes I get, yes, I did make changes. I swapped it out for a different crypto or blah, blah, blah. But then sometimes I get, no, even though I have the information from the future self, the person, for whatever reason, decided to hodl the coin. And it's really interesting doing these readings. Unfortunately, I'm booked into March now. I think my earliest booking is March, which is why we got to
They can always pay to get in front of they can always pay to have an emergency reading, right?
Well, yes, they can, thanks to Craig, who set that up, by the way. But, that's why I want to get the paper readings up and running, because I'm getting, like, okay, I'm sorry I don't answer the emails right away, but if you guys would understand, I get hundreds of emails a day, right? I spend so much time answering emails. And I've got so many requests like, Liz, when are the paper readings coming out? Because they don't want to wait till March, but I'm actually booked out into March now. I'm pretty sure, because I had some people say, Liz, I can't believe I booked an appointment and I should have booked it sooner, but it's in March. But even now, I mean, so if you're thinking about booking, you want a crypto, you're going to have to, I would say, book it now, because you don't want to get to a point where it's like, okay, Liz, you're booked out till June. And I need the information. So I would say don't hesitate, because it's just constantly filling up all the time.
So back to the moon. Do you want to?
Oh yeah, I forgot
that
about
time
that.
movement? I don't actually think that the moon would know the price of crypto. Like, for instance, if you ask me, I only care about what's going on right now, right? So if you ask me what's the price of Bitcoin, back in early November, I went back to watch some of these videos where I was buying it at 56,000, rode the wave up. It's like, now it's in the 48, 49 range. It's like, what do I care about early November? You see what I mean? So how could that be different with the moon when you're looking at the price of cryptos?
Well, you can ask the moon, because the moon has so much emotional involvement in investing, right? That's where it has this magnetic pull on our emotions. And so you could say, well, but I don't need to ask the moon to say, are crypto's going to be up today or down overall. I can just find, I just ask whatever. I don't need to ask the moon. But what I can say is, do you foresee a crash coming up within the next, what's today's date? The 10th, in the next 5 days?
All right, let's do that. You want to do a time movement? You want to do a time movement to the December 20th and see what date it was?
I don't really want to time move the moon. I'm getting so many red flags about that. But I can say to the moon now, can you foresee a investment crash? But see, you're saying this is too vague, an investment crash. Of course, there's going to be an investment crash somewhere around the world. But overall, like stock market, crypto investment crash within the next 5 days. Yeah, there is going to be a dip.
What about the S&P 500?
What about the S&P 500? No, I don't feel like it's going to dip down as much as cryptos.
Why does cryptos dip down
Because
specifically?
it's a majority of it is emotional investing.
The way I'm seeing weakness in the market, it's like it only takes one whale, right? Someone dumps 1,000 Bitcoin and it's like everyone dumps. You know what I mean? And that's the way I see it. And I'm just it's like how many whales are there in the Bitcoin? It only takes one to decide fucking and they sell. It's like,
yeah, that's right.
You know what I
that's
mean?
right.
So when we ask about the moon, it just seems like the emotional pulls. What if the frontal cortex of some whale is making the decision and then he's going to buy it at 31? You know what I mean?
It could be. I mean, but then what we need to do is whale watch, and then probe the whale.
Yeah. I mean, you got a little bit of that going on too, but it's just another instrument. So
is it going to be a flash crash?
What about how? Do you want to?
Is it going to be a flash? Okay, I'll ask him. Is it going to be a flash crash? It won't last long. It won't last long at all.
Will it happen in the middle of the night in the United States?
Middle of the night in the United States? Most probably. So we'll wake up to cryptos being quite down.
What about if we were to ask how, okay, as an example, as a barometer of accuracy, on December 11th, what would be the Bitcoin high of the day and what would be the Bitcoin low of the day? The highest price of the day and the lowest price of the day.
What would be the highest price of today?
No, December 11th, tomorrow.
December 11th. What would be the highest price of Bitcoin tomorrow, December the 11th, 2021? 51?
And what would be the lowest?
What would be the lowest price? 48? Ish. So we can roll with that. I hate to cut this short. I got a reading.
No, but this is good. This is another way instead of remote viewing. We ask the entity.
Yeah, it is. It is, and we can try this out. This is experimental only. But I've got readings today.
It's good.
That's what I'm saying. I'm packed. I'm stacked and packed with readings. Like I didn't realize the time. I have.
All right.
I have to go.
All right.
I've got.
No problem.
I got my readings waiting for me in just a minute. So I want to make a cup of tea, like I always do. Because I talk a lot during the reading. They're probably like, Liz, shut up. But I
Just give me the data.
I talk so much, even in the CTT session. So listen, guys, if you want to be a part of this CTT for Shiba Inu, I swear it's great. It's like $5 a month. Come to the Patreon, and we're going to start up some tapping for Craig's Patreon as well. Okay. But you need to come to the Patreon, remote viewing and beyond. Craig's is remote viewing data. Craig's is like $1. Mine's like $5. Okay. If you can't afford that,
mine's whatever you want to pay until I put something of substance on there. That's really what it is. I'm going to, right now there's Bitcoin predictions and I was doing them daily, but I like sure things. So I put that on there. That's actually, very, very good. But my interest is not psychic stuff as much as I want to increase everyone's portfolio overall. That's my angle.
It's a way to interact with you as well. I mean, that's a way, because listen, I answer people. I have an order. Okay. The Patreon people come first, then, obviously readings come first because I have to do those. They book in a time. Patreon people come in their high priority. And then I get to my emails eventually. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's
Sure.
a priority thing. You know, if you want to interact with Craig, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, we're just, yeah, well, and it's great. Listen, our group is fantastic. We are so lucky. We must be the luckiest people out there because our group is so positive and so radiant and so friendly and just, you know what I mean? Like we don't allow that nonsense. And it's not just Liz saying that, it's the other people, and they don't want that nonsense there. They're there for positive vibrational energy and, you know, spiritual information. So yeah, if you're a good person, you're more than welcome to come join us, but you should come for the CTT sessions for Shiba Inu because it's really amazing. And the last announcement that I have to make is for everybody that wants to take Owen's class. My friend in London, who is a bona fide medium, look, I would not give you a charlatan. He does intuitive development, and it's dirt cheap. Okay. He's doing a last call because he's putting his teams together now. So if you wanted to do the intuitive development, I think it's like 50 quid. Everybody's like, Liz, what's 50 quid? 50 quid is 50 British pounds. Okay. That's nothing by today's standards. You need to email Owen, OWENWLL at AOL.com. He called me the other day. He's like, Liz, it's last call, last call. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're in the pub and it's like last orders, last orders. Yeah. So I mean, it's last call on Owen because Owen is like me. He's very busy. If you hesitate, you may not get in there till summertime now. You know, so if you want to do your intuitive development with Owen, then by all means you need to contact him like immediately. And if he
I
sends
think
you an email,
we did a show with him a long time ago on
yeah.
the YouTube channel, and he did channel my grand. I was listening to him and I thought,
Mhm.
you know, whatever. And then he started acting like my grandfather for a second. You could see me in
Mhm.
the video. Are you channeling my grandfather? Because it was like bizarre to see, and there's no way he could know
Mhm.
anything about me or anything. So I thought that was pretty validating.
Yeah.
You know, just for me personally, just observing that myself. So that's why I was curious, you know. And all right, anyways, let's wrap it up and do your
Yeah,
thing with
because
the
I gotta
reading.
go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but
Bye,
thank you, everybody. Bye.
everyone.